Hello, and welcome to Conversations with Reverend G. I am Reverend Grenetta Mason, aka Reverend G, and I'm here every Monday night on WEMS Radio from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. with very special guests. My guests, they come from all walks of life and they have all different perspectives. We talk about life, we talk about love, and we talk about spiritual practices. We share our spiritual journeys and hope that we can inspire you. We talk about the spiritual practices that we use to support us no matter what we're going through. I enjoy doing this show because there's just so many perspectives on how we can support ourselves, so many different viewpoints on the different tools that we can use. So, I talk about the spiritual toolkit. And the spiritual toolkit is the spiritual practices that are personal for you, the spiritual practices that work for you. And when we talk about spirituality, sometimes people get caught up in the word spirituality as opposed to thinking about it from a perspective of what supports you in your life. What practices, when you're with you, that you can do to support you? There are many of them. I think in terms of, the usual ones around prayer and meditation and reading and listening to videos. And we all have our special people that we listen to that resonate with us. But I also think about the creative activities that we do that also support us. If I'm having a really, really rough day, I could sit down sometimes and just color in a coloring book and take away some of the angst or whatever I'm going through. So I consider that a spiritual practice also. I put spiritual in it because it's about you connecting with you and you connecting with God, a higher being, or whatever you want to call it. I am able to talk about spirituality from many, many perspectives. And today I have a really special guest, Lalante Remy. She's here with us today, and she is a marketing and creative director. Hey, Lalante, how are you
Hi.
today?
Good, good.
Good. I've known Lalante since she was high school, right? And so it's been really great to see her as she's gone through and the different things that she's done in her life since high school till now. So I wanted her to come on and share some of the experiences that she's had up to now. And Lalante, I guess the first thing we could talk about to get the people to know you a little bit more, you can introduce yourself and talk about to us how did you get started in marketing and what kind of things are you doing in your marketing career right now?
Um, how did I get started in marketing? It was totally by accident.
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to be in politics, but it
Oh.
ended up from an internship just turning into marketing. So,
Mm.
and the rest is history. Um, what was the next question?
Oh, okay. So you said the rest is history. I know
Yeah.
you got an MBA in marketing. What were some of your first jobs in marketing that you would say really inspire you to continue in that way? Since you did turn from politics to marketing.
Uh, it's I prefer to do marketing on my own terms.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working for a few firms.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's I take these firms on a global level.
Mm-hmm.
From the marketing is global. It's for the global market. It's actually very stressful because marketing, the umbrella is big. It's a
Yeah.
big umbrella, and
Mm-hmm.
I do it. I do everything under the umbrella, right? And you
Mm,
have to
okay.
manage and direct a team. Like for right now, my current firm, we have 4 offices, and one international office, and I manage all the marketing for that. With that comes a lot of deadlines. So I work a lot of hours. And then I also run my own practice. With that comes a lot of deadlines too. So I'm actually at the point where I'm thinking it might just be better to carry on solo rather than with another firm, because it gets stressful.
And I know I looked at some of your background, and I see that you always had your own consulting as
Yeah.
you've worked for other companies also. One of the things I taught the industry that, have you always worked in the architectural industry, or has that been a
If
specialty for you?
anything full time has been in the architectural design, construction realm. Anything full time, yeah, it has. And like I said, it's rough. You're always on deadlines, and it was great up until we got our. Well, it was not great, but it was easier. Not everyone can work remote or balance it. It's a lot. I'm used to working alone because I'm always a consultant. So, my home is geared for remote work. But now we have the order to come back, and between being in the office is such a distraction because you can never finish your deadlines because someone always needs to pull you away. And, it's just easier working alone. No one can come and pull you away. If you have a deadline, you could just work on it on your own pace. I mean, my entire family, even when I'm at home and they know if I say I'm on a deadline, everybody knows what that means. I've trained
You've trained them.
I've trained them. Like, so at work, apparently they don't have any training. So yeah.
Right.
So
What comes to mind for me as you're talking about it and the deadlines, it seems to be like a male-dominated industry. How have
it
you
is.
been able to navigate as a female in the industry, and have
Well,
you seen some changes lately?
well, I'll definitely say, I feel like it's all, of course, it's male dominated, and it's white male dominated. Like,
Right.
let's call it what it is. It's not just male dominated, it's white male dominated. And that's just what it is. So to see a person of color in the executive role always, well, not always, but a lot of times it's been getting better as diversity and inclusion have come quite a long way in the last maybe 3-4 years, I would say. And more recently, the last 2 years, it's inclusion and diversity has been a big thing. So now you see it a little bit more mixed. But even in this role, normally the marketing person, yeah, it's a woman, is normally not a person of color. You know what I mean? So,
Right. Even
so also
navigating
I
that.
deal with that a lot. Like at work, I respect is a huge thing for me because, one, it's a male dominated industry, and men seem to always think like they know more or they know better, or you're a woman, so do as I say. And I'm quick to let people know.
Yeah, you have to.
And
I mean,
it's a professional quickness. I'm always professional, but however, when it's you get that from me. I'm not the one to be played with. I dress a certain way. I act a certain way at work. I'm nobody's friend. I'm here to do a job and do it professionally, and you will respect me, and that's it. So I always make sure that respect plays a big role. I don't take disrespect. I don't care if it's a male dominated industry. I don't care if there's that many people of color. I don't care what it is, but you will respect me because this is what I do, and I know my job, and I do it well. And it's important to be confident in your, in yourself and your skill set and what you bring to the table.
And as you were saying, that now you're seeing some changes more after everything just recently happened, and there were so many different committees that were formed, right?
Yeah,
To
I tell people all the time, if you are a person of color, now is the time. Like there are certain jobs before
mhm,
where I would say, maybe
mhm,
not. But if you're a person
mhm,
of color, this is the time to take chance on your chance.
mhm,
Yeah.
because they're looking to
They're
get
looking for, yeah,
mhm,
diversity and inclusion.
diversity.
Everybody's trying to diversify their workforce. And what we're getting now is, for example, I'm hiring for my department, and
Mhm,
I actually pay very close attention to the applications and the resumes that I get.
mhm,
I'm actually on purposely searching, for a
mhm,
person of color to bring into this role and kind of grow, their own
mhm.
careers so that they can understand what I do and just be exposed to it. Because a lot of times, like I said, this is not a role that you see too many people of color in. And
Right.
I
I was
love,
going to ask you too. What are there? It's a but it's a women dominated role, like your role. Where are you seeing women in your role across the board, but they're white women?
so
Or
there's in marketing is one of those fields where you get men and you get women. I feel like it's pretty mixed.
okay, okay,
However, a person of color is where
that
I think it lacks. And even now, for my
mm-hmm,
marketing department, I'll be honest with
hmm
you, I keep my eye on the. I always have my eyes peeled, but
hmm
I'm not really getting,
what you're looking.
yeah, the people that, yeah. So I guess there's
Mm-hmm.
that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was interesting because I remember I had a friend that was hired, and we talked about when you're looking to hire people of color, right? And we had this whole thing because she was a small firm, and in order, she felt like she needed to get the people from the Harvards or those places because she couldn't afford to train them, let's say, right? And so when that happens, you really don't give all the people there. Because I was like, there's so many qualified people to do this job, right? But there's just so many different standards out there, and the way people approach hiring and how they're making their decisions about who to put in the positions. And I always have this thing too about when you the black people that you see that are out there, they always go to Harvard or Princeton, right? And I love all that because I went to Columbia, but at the same time, I always feel that, do we have to be super people? Do we have to be the ones that they pick, right? They are.
So I would say for this role, I don't think where you got your degree matter per se. If you have the degree, of course, that's what matters. It's having that
Right.
degree. But
Mm-hmm.
from where it is from, not so much, because this is one of those roles where the experience is what they seek more so than where you got your degree. So and that's hard. That's a hard one. Not only just the experience, but this like the level of skills. Because you could be
Right.
experienced, but
Right.
experience, what does that mean? Okay, I could be experienced and been in the field for 10 years and not.
Right. Right. I get
No,
that
and
too.
then and I'm not that good at what I do, but I've been there for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
think highly qualified applicants are what's needed in this field, and it's hard to come by, which is why for someone like me, I can always quit a job today and start another job
No.
tomorrow.
Right. That's interesting because for me, when you say applicants for these type of roles that are they're hard to come by, what comes to my mind is like, why don't we know about this then? How is it that we could get the message out to let more people of color know of these type of positions, of these
Well,
type
I think the
of
other thing is too,
opportunities?
I don't think we're posting. Let me see. I know for a fact, my company, what we do is we post on like the architectural boards and the like
Mm-hmm.
more of the design boards. But I think this is where there are quite a few though. I mean, well, it's starting to pick up. Like, for example, there's this one service called a board, and
Mm-hmm.
a board is new. I think they just launched maybe about a month or two ago. I can't, but right now they're actually, a lot of people don't know about it, but they are, and I think it's a division of, I don't want to say the wrong name, if it's one of the top recruiting services. Okay,
Okay.
but I don't want to say the name because I don't like saying things that are wrong, and then I don't get to come back and correct and make a correction. But it's a division of one of the major recruiting services, and what a board does is, a board is geared to minorities and people of color, but only at the executive role, like level.
Oh, okay.
So if you're looking for a VP of marketing, senior VP of marketing, assistant VP, those kind of executive roles, that service, the companies that use that service are, it's just geared for, they're looking for people of color to diversify their workforce, and therefore this service, that's why this service comes. I don't want to ever free advertise for it, but it's also good. But it's also good because a lot of Black or people of color creatives, and and it's not just marketing, it's geared towards a whole bunch of different fields, but it's geared for people of color and executive level. And before you can't, so what I like about it is you can't just join, right? You have to send your resume. Then they have a vetting process that they do to make sure they look at your resume, make sure, and if you're good, then they'll invite you to come in for a meeting, and then you'll be able to see the jobs that they have, and they'll send you your resume or bio to companies that are interested. But there are, like I said, it's come a long way, and there are several programs out there geared towards finding. Yeah, and even now you look at the job boards, they'll tell you to, like, if they're looking for people, like, it tells you, but I say too, it's looking, but we also need the qualified, that's the hardest part for me anyway, hiring. I want to
get the right
diversify,
people you want to diversify, but what is your pool? The pool.
Yeah, the pool is
right, exactly.
Is not, so it's tough.
Right, because I was what also I was thinking about. You say the time is now, so should we as people of color, let's say, start to really open up and expand and look at different careers? Are there any particular industries, or would you say that we should just say, I've had my job for
No,
5 years?
there are certain industries, like I would definitely say there are certain industries that are notorious for lacking a pool of people of color. There's just, for example, your IT sector, right? Technology sector, even marketing sector. There's a lot of women, there's a lot of gay men, there's a lot of men, right? But you'll even find, LGBTQ, but finding like a person of color is like finding a needle in a haystack. Let me tell you, it's been times where people have been shocked when they walked into the office, and a client was meeting with me, and I came in and they actually thought I was the receptionist, and they asked me for coffee, so yeah, I set them in their place, but but it's people are always a little taken back, and I don't know if it's just I'm of color, or maybe just in their minds I might just look too young, who knows,
right?
But I definitely, you know what I mean, and then I don't exactly dress like I'm going to a mass, so
Yeah, it is interesting too when we think about where these jobs are, but also for me is how do we get the word out? Just hearing you say, "Oh, I have these jobs, but my pool." What do you do next, right? To really find the qualified people, or do you hire somebody and you train them? You see, that comes back to that whole
so
question
this is
of
the
how much
thing.
money you got.
Companies don't like training. I can't
Mm.
I can't exactly tell you I've been with any company where I got trained. This is not
Right,
retail. No
just
one, you
jump
don't
in.
get to. learn to register for a week before they put you on. No, you just get on, and and you're on deadlines, and they expect output. It's just there's no training,
Mm,
which is also makes it hard. Because I'll be honest with you, although I'm looking to diversify my team,
mm-hmm.
I'm also not looking to train. I don't have time to train.
Right. You
Training
start.
means, and then yeah, and then a lot of times with the training, what happens is you bring someone in, you spend all these hours training them and weeks, and then they get it, and then after a year they leave. I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
professional trainer.
But you want
So
them to come in with a certain level of
with
skill, a certain
something,
level
right?
of knowledge,
So
right?
what I'll do is, like, for example, right now I need a marketing assistant and I need a coordinator. So for the assistant role, it could be out of school,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you
Mm-hmm.
still need a degree because,
Mm-hmm.
and you still need certain skills like copywriting. Can you write? A lot of college graduates can't write to save their lives. I write for a living.
Mm-hmm.
My proposals, I'm putting together 3, 4, 500-page documents
Mm-hmm.
and on deadline. So you have to know the difference between abbreviations for their, they are, there's, like,
Right,
you have to know the basics, and your grammar has to be on point. And I find that a lot of college grads, they're not ready for the workforce because,
that,
and people, I don't know where that concept came in that people get training them. Like, I don't
no,
think I've
I guess I
ever.
wasn't thinking about like you have to have a certain level, but I was thinking about like transferable skills, right? You pick
Well,
people who
okay, so
have
that's what I look for.
that,
Like, for example, I'm
right.
hiring a marketing
That's what
assistant.
I
Okay.
meant by that, by training, not like because certain skills, if you have, like you said, if you have great writing skills, you could use them in any job, right? And that's
Right.
what I meant by training, more
Yeah, so
like learning your way.
that's the thing. But the other thing is too, so for what I do, it's not the most interesting job, you know what I mean?
Mm.
It's not the most interesting job. So I also understand now, because I write, like, writing a 300-400-page document is like, I've been doing it a long time. Like, I'm not
Mhm.
gonna say it comes super easy, but I know what I'm doing, so I know how to, handle it. But you're talking about breaking down complex data and responding to it, and
Mm.
having the ability to break it down and put it in layman's terms and sell yourself in a proposal. And that can be boring, especially to, like,
Mhm.
new graduate or entry level. That's not what
Mhm.
they're trying to do.
Mhm.
It's and I get it. I
Mhm.
get it. It's
Mhm.
boring. I know.
Mhm.
And not
Yeah,
everyone has the mental capacity to take that's it's a lot. It's a lot of work. So I get it. Yeah. So
yeah,
if
and
you're
it's gonna
creative,
be.
or go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say it's gonna be interesting for the new grads that are coming out, right? How and what skill sets they're gonna have, and how they're gonna approach the job market. What I'm seeing, we talked about earlier, COVID, and how we all for 18 months we were in, and now they're saying come back, and it's so many people that don't want to come back and are being forced to come back, and it's just so much
Well,
going
I'm one of
on
those
with,
people. Let's be clear. But go
right,
ahead.
which one are you, right? I am
I'm the same. You just described me to the T.
do not want to go back, right?
I know. So see, when you invited me to come to the show, I was remote, right?
Mm-hmm.
My days were mines, right? I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to rush, drop off kids to school. Okay. And then with
Mm-hmm.
COVID, there are certain procedures now just going into school. So the whole thing, by the time I drop the kids off, park my car, try to get on an express bus, get to
Mm-hmm.
work, like
So
it, and
much,
then I'm on. Remember, I'm on. Have been on deadlines in an office and being on deadlines at home doesn't compare. At home, I still
mm-hmm.
have my time. I can take time off. Like right now, I did a whole day at work, and now
Mm-hmm.
I came home and it's so late, and I
Mm-hmm.
only left that early because I knew I had this podcast.
Mhm.
Because I knew
I appreciate you. I
if I didn't
appreciate
leave
you.
when I left,
Mm-hmm.
I would
You
have
would have
been
missed it.
commuting, like on a
Right.
bus or something. So I wouldn't have otherwise I would have
Mm-hmm.
stayed
Right.
probably till a little past 7, and then just taken like a lift home. Then
Mm-hmm.
I come here and now it's late and I have to get the kids ready for bed. So it's It's not.
It's not a lot being working as you do and running the home. It's like the
It's
superwoman phase
easier done when I'm working remote,
remote,
is what I
right?
was trying to say. So then by them saying, "Oh, come back in," it threw a monkey's wrench in my life, I should say. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, yeah, and it's
Do you have
been
to go 5 days?
yes.
Oh, so because with us, they gradually, we did 1 day, now we're doing 2 days until
No,
they
there,
get.
and that was the other thing too. I felt like we needed to be weaned. I don't know about they. I can only speak for myself,
Me,
but
you're
I
right,
know
exactly.
I needed to be. But then I work for like someone who he's older.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes him feel a lot better if you're in front of his face.
Face.
Um, and this is why sometimes newer companies, well, or companies with younger leadership works better. Yeah.
Because everything is shifting and it takes time for that old way of being to flow out.
I mean, you're
Because
talking about a year and a half,
I know, but I
right?
don't really think if it hadn't been for us being forced to go to remote, many companies still would not have done it as much as
Mine
it has
wouldn't have.
been. Mine wouldn't have either. They had
Yeah.
to, and so they did. So I feel, and it was being pushed by the younger people in my company. They were always talking about, why do I have to come here? And in my
I was just
generation,
about to say that in my company, we the young crew,
yeah.
let me tell you something. Okay, so I run a marketing meeting every Monday, and let me tell you, that's not a topic that I bring that we're supposed to talk about,
Mhm.
but I do.
Right,
So
right,
about this remote thing again, this was pre-COVID, so
right.
but you're
Right.
gonna have the younger generation are always because you
Always,
want your
always.
time to be yours
Right.
in some sort of way. Yes, I want to work. Yes,
Mhm.
I'm not, no one
Right.
wants to, well, I don't know about everyone else. I know I don't want to stay home and not do anything. I want to work, but I kind of want my days I don't want to be limited to 2 days to run errands and clean my house. I don't.
Right.
I want to
Exactly.
be able to clean my house on a Tuesday at 1 o'clock because
Right.
I'm home.
I have a younger person that reports to me, and I had to learn a lot, girl, because I'm an older person. So my way was not his way. And so I'm still working towards understanding, how to communicate and
Well, at least
how
you're
to.
working towards it and not being a tyrant. So,
Not working towards it. Sometimes I just get frustrated about it, but we do
but
have a.
then, but some of the younger generation can be super, what do you call it? They're very, what do you call it when you're into yourself and they're just entitled.
Oh,
So you have to,
entitled.
well, yeah. So a lot of that too. I
Mm,
mean, I run a team,
mm,
so
mm,
some of them, it's more entitlement than
I gotta,
you.
I
You know what
gotta
I
check
mean?
that out from that perspective because I don't know what I was calling it. What I was calling annoyance, right?
Yeah, well,
But
because it's entitlement. And a
mm,
lot of even
mm,
though I think with the older generation, they had to kind of work their way through, and it was just a different process.
mm,
The work process, it was just
right.
completely different. You
Mm,
just started from somewhere, you worked your way up.
yeah, yeah,
The newer generation just kind of want to come out of school and be VP already,
right,
and they want to run the show. They,
right, right.
that's just what it is. I think for me, which is also key, because being younger, I'm also adaptable, which is very hard to find. Yeah, which is when a company finds like someone who's good at what they do and they're adaptable, they want to keep that person, because it's very hard. You get a lot of people that come into this role and they don't understand why they can't do most of the stuff. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm one of those people. I'd rather work from like a Starbucks or a library
Okay.
than being in my office.
Right, exactly.
I mean, like, I literally would go to a public library and I could work there way
Yep,
better than
all
being
day.
in my. I just, I don't. It's just not for
Exactly.
me.
Right. So let's shift a little bit and talk a little about spirituality. Can you tell us a little bit about how you grew up? Did you grow up going to church, and then how you've gone through your whole spiritual journey and where you are now?
I grew up in church all the time. Bible studies at home all the time.
Mm-hmm.
More Bible studies, more church. I am
Mm-hmm.
now no church, no Bible studies. Yeah,
You
I
say
like it.
you went from 100 to 0, right? You're like,
I'm I listen, I'm one of those people, I'm all the way in or I'm out.
mm-mm.
I'm
Right,
out.
you out, right? What
Yeah.
about I know
But
you
I
have.
feel like even though I'm out, I just feel like there are more important things than just going to church. Like I'm very happy with how I am as a person. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just what it is. I try to do good.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I live on. I just try to do good. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I've even though okay, you might find this weird, but I call it my church, but it's not my church because I don't go there. Maybe I think I went for like Easter before COVID or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I do more of the volunteering work than so
Mm-hmm.
in the church they know me more as I volunteer in the soup kitchen, the pantry. I do all that and I'm consistent with it.
Mm-hmm.
But going to
Mm-hmm.
church,
No
no.
church. What about
No.
the kids? Do they go to church? How have you
No. Now
incorporated
when
religion,
my mom when my
spirituality?
mom was closer, my mom used to, take them to church with her.
Okay.
That's what grandparents do. But I know. So what I train my kids to do the same thing is more spiritual and just be a good person. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Just know that there is a higher power and
Mm-hmm.
be a good person. That's all I teach them. I don't want them to get too into. I think what it is my growing up was so religious and strict that as a
Mm-hmm.
parent, I'm probably the most lackadaisical parent you ever meet. Let me tell you something. If my kids don't want to do something, guess what they're not doing?
Not doing it.
That's something. Yeah,
Mm.
it was just, I just grew up. It was too
Well,
much
you have
Bible.
like strict your
Yeah, I used to
Bible
get
is
hit with the Bible in the head. I mean,
really
not physically, but
right,
that's
but
basically what it felt
did
like. And
you
I'm
reject
fine.
all of it? You don't
I
you don't
reject all of it.
you
I
don't
sure do. I
yeah.
mean, I used to be I mean, it was to the point where I probably could recite a scripture to you for any conversation. That's how I
Mm.
was growing up. Yeah. I
Mhm.
like how I am now. I don't remember. The only one I think I remember is I think I walked through the valley of death or something like that, but that's about it.
That's, yeah, walk this around. But I understand that because, well, I didn't totally reject it, but at a point I just stopped going to church and stopped doing
So I
all
think
that, right?
so for me it's not it's the church thing.
Mm-hmm,
Because I
mm-hmm.
really feel like okay, so one, I'm not into religion, right?
No,
And although I grew up differently, right? Yeah,
right.
we had a denomination,
Yeah.
and we followed. I don't know if you remember, but in high school I wore all skirts. And then I remember one time Jasmine bought me a skirt for my birthday, and I was very excited because I had told her what skirt I wanted. My dad was very upset. I guess because the
Mm-hmm.
split was too high and he took
No.
scissors to it. Like it's been a lot. And I
Right,
just
right.
feel like in the name of religion, people do a
Mm-hmm.
lot of
Yeah.
evil
Harmful
things.
things.
And
Yeah,
I
harmful
mean,
things.
you could just look at history, and
Yeah.
I'm not with it. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
also one of those people, if I go to a church and I don't like one thing the pastor or the reverend says in that sermon,
Yeah.
I'm not coming back because I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel like I need to be part of any group. So I've
Mm-hmm.
always been, even though, I mean, you know me, I have a lot of friends.
Right.
Like, I
I-
mean, when I say a lot of friends, I have a lot of friends.
mhm.
However, one thing I don't do is I don't do stuff to belong.
Mhm,
Um, I don't
mhm,
need to belong. And
mhm.
sometimes being part of a church can be very like cult like
Yes,
in
absolutely.
some of their practices and the way the people are. I'm not a judgmental person. Like, let me
Mhm.
tell you something. You can tell me that you swing from the chandelier every day and land into a split and fly out the window, and I'd be like, yes, go girl. I don't care what you do.
Right,
And I
right,
just can't get in with like some like the church stuff. I'm
right,
more of a you'll see me in passing, but I don't get too deep into it.
right. Right, because
Yeah.
that's what I was saying when we talk about spirituality, it's separate from religion because we all grew up. I grew up Christian religion, and as I was saying, once I rejected it, as I started to study different religions, then felt better about spirituality and not having to be anyone, and
Right.
being it
Right. You just being yourself and
exactly
understanding that and even like when you pray, right?
right
Even how if I were to pray now, it'd be very different.
than how you used to
How
pray.
I yeah, how I
It's interesting that I would like to tap into. So when you think about how you used to pray and what that felt like and how you're praying now, is there a certain new level of comfort that you have with how you're praying now, a new understanding that comes with that?
I think for me, so I rarely pray now.
Hmm.
But I think maybe my let me not say rarely because
Hmm.
I don't get down on my knees,
No, right.
right?
I get it.
Right.
Like you said, let me
Well, you
distinguish
know
that.
that's how we
Like
grew
you're
up.
not like, so yeah, you have to get down on your knees and you say it.
Right. And let me tell you, I paid for that, okay?
Mhm.
My knees were dark up until about 25 years old, okay? I was
Funny.
applying creams to it
Oh
to
my
try to get
God.
them to
This-
yes, and
You on your knees that much? Wow.
that's and when we
Wow.
did, I'll be honest with you, when we did Bible studies in my house,
Mm-hmm.
we used to kneel and we
Mm-hmm.
would as we kneel we would do the Bible studies and then we would pray. It was like a two
Mm-hmm.
for one kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would do Saturday mornings at the church, right? Because they would have prayer service. And where
Mm-hmm.
would you be?
Kneeling.
You'd be kneeling on your knees. And
Oh,
then
okay.
Sunday, right? A lot of kneeling again. And then
Mm.
listen, if I kneel now, it's because I want to. I'm not
Right,
kneeling.
not kneeling to right, and so
So I
it
think my
makes it
prayers are different. It's more
different,
so
right?
I speak more so to well, not to myself, but it is to
Mhm.
myself,
Yeah,
right? But
because it's
it's
to yourself. I say God is within me, who else, right? And if we're all one, universal one, yeah, speak to
right.
yourself,
So it's
right?
this that's how my prayers are like, please, Lord, if you calm me down, I won't have to, stab this coworker with a pencil.
Mhm.
See, like stuff like that.
Right, right,
Oh,
right. But that's a practice to shift, right? Because when I
yeah.
talk about spiritual practices and things that support us when we're in different ways. So if you say, Lord, help me not do that, that's a great prayer, right?
Right. Let me tell you something. It's yeah, so even I that's how I do it now. No more like kneeling. It's different. It's that's why I said I like being an adult.
Yeah, but it's just so funny. So do you find though, can you say there was any rewards from that or gifts from that, or do you
From
anything
my
your
upbringing.
upbringing in the
Well,
Christian
I would just
religion?
say that well, I don't know because I always feel like I would have been who I am because that's just who I am,
Mm,
right?
mm, mm,
Um so I think for my parents it was more so no, they were really into the whole like Chris. They, you have to be a Christian and this
mm,
kind of Christian.
mm,
So I mean, maybe if they weren't so pushy, I probably still would have been in church. But
mm,
yeah, right,
mm,
right. So I
mm,
think it changed in that sense where my upbringing just created a whole I'm a total opposite. I mean, that's the opposite way. I'm an atheist, but I'm the total opposite in how I think. I don't judge
exactly.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Religious people, church people are really critical, highly critical. I
Mm-hmm.
spent my youth in church
Mm,
criticized, my friends criticized by the
mm-hmm.
adults.
Mm-hmm. Who are
And
you?
that's why I don't judge anybody. I don't judge anybody for what they do. I don't.
Mhm.
Um
That brings me to an interesting shift because I know that you're on Instagram, you're Remy Glam, right? And I know that you have like a blog, right? And you feature like entertainers and talk about how that got started for you as the
well, I've always
content that
felt like um see, that's the thing. So it's like a fight, right? Because
Mhm.
I'm into more of fashion beauty, but it just comes like naturally, I would say. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I had one girl at work asked me, she was like, "Oh, do you plan your outfits every day?" Why would I plan my outfit? Like, I just get up and I throw
Right.
on whatever
Right.
I find, whatever is I'm okay with. I don't go planning. She was like, "Oh, I thought you planned them," and I'm like, "What?" Like, no. But ever since I was younger, I've always been scouted. If that,
Mm-hmm.
so I've done some campaigns, some ads, commercials, and it just was always something fun more so than, how some people just they want to be a model. Some
Right.
people just
Right.
want to be an actress.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and I've always just it was just always fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's just fun. I like to play it with fashion. That's all.
Right.
But if
Yeah,
I,
I
I guess
agree.
if I had my dream job, it wouldn't be in what I do. It would
What
be
was your dream
marketing.
job?
It
Marketing,
would
but
be
what would
marketing.
it be though? Your dream job would be marketing, because if you can define it, you can have it.
Well, it would be marketing, but not for an architecture design and feel. If it would be design, but it would be like fashion design. It
Fashion
would be
design.
more beauty. It would be more.
What
You
has
understand
stopped
me?
you from crossing over though into that industry, even out of fun, not to be famous or anything? Because I see your style is great, your makeup is awesome.
Well,
What?
the problem is you get pigeonholed, kind of like how an actor or
Mm,
an actress gets blacklisted. I
right.
mean, not blacklisted, but it is blacklisted, right?
Or
When
pigeonholed into one role. You're saying
yeah,
that's right.
and
Okay.
you're just boxed in.
But okay.
So for example, what I do, I can do it across the board, no matter which sector.
Mm,
However, try to tell that to a company. Say, for
mm,
example, I'm in the construction industry. If I try to go to banking or finance, they just
mm,
want someone.
with
We
that
Let's go
experience.
back to what I told you about the training where they don't want to train. They
Mm,
want someone to come in knowing all the terminologies and the differences,
mm,
because while you might know marketing, you now have to get familiar with the terminology
in
and
that
the
industry.
processes within that industry. Like, see,
Mm-hmm.
this is why with me I can always get a job. Like, I can quit my job today and start working tomorrow in the construction industry, right? In the
Mm-hmm.
architecture design realm,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I'm experienced, I already know it, and they don't need to train me. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times what you get is, and maybe I did take a few years ago, maybe like 3 years ago, I did take some time, I think for a couple of months, I geared my resume and everything for fashion and beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always the same thing. You get pigeonholed because they
Oh,
think
right,
they like
because you
you.
haven't been in that industry.
Yeah, they like you. However, they kind of want someone. You lose out each time when you have to go
Mm-hmm.
against someone who has the
Has the
experience
experience, right?
and
Right.
within that industry,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you've
So, but
already been in,
how? So, as I think about that, I'm thinking about how social media now has changed that, right? Has change. I would say change the way your face look. Not really, right? But I was thinking from the perspective of, aren't a lot of people using social media as their marketing tool and really being successful at it? Whereas,
well, that's the see. I think for me, here lies my issue. This is
right.
what I do for a living. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not social media heavy. And let me just tell you, I can spend sometimes I go days and weeks and don't go on. I mean, and then there are where I manage, part of marketing is social media management. When I have to manage so many clients, I don't care really about minds, and I don't care about
Mm-hmm.
creating, which I should though, right? Because you and I tell people all the time, you yourself is your brand,
Right,
right?
right, right, right,
So
right.
every day when people see me walking down the street, every day when I'm posting online, right? This is you're the brand,
Right,
and you should
right.
act as such. But you do see, even though I don't post all the time, I don't go all the time, and that's one of the things my friends get annoyed about because
Mm-hmm.
I'm busy. I don't really have time to. And that's the other thing too, where I'm at the executive level. A lot of my friends haven't gotten to the executive level yet, so they
The
don't understand how much.
responsibility. Yeah.
Right. the responsibility that
Mm-hmm.
goes into it. But I always tell everyone, my one advice to people is you are your brand, from how you look, how you dress,
Mm-hmm.
and even your social media. Even though you see I post once in a while, but my pictures always, like, I don't know if you notice, and I know we follow each other, you
Mm-hmm.
see
Right.
my pictures, I want to look like I have a professional photographer follow me at all times. And if
Right.
the picture doesn't look
Exactly.
like that, I'm not posting it.
Right. They look professional all the
And
time.
for me, I feel like if unless if you're just on there to just have fun,
Mm-hmm.
I'm on there. But I just even so, I just maybe it's my creative mind thinking. I just feel like you are your brand and you should look a certain way. Like I'm not just gonna wake up, roll out of bed, and take a picture and post it. That's just not what I do. But if that's someone else's brand,
I know.
but some people do it, so I guess that's see. But that's the thing is, it's annoying because I guess I'm thinking about you being a brand, so you have to look a certain way and act a certain way. But so for some people, it's just I guess just fun. But if
But
I had my way,
yeah, and that's probably their brand to just roll out like.
roll out. Yeah, I know I can't. You
Right.
know, I've had to send some text messages like, "Girl, take that down." Like,
Take that down,
take that down.
right?
Yeah, so you know, you just can be crazy on the internet. Like, just you can be out here looking crazy. So I
Mhm.
just feel like there's a certain way, you know, you should carry yourself. So I guess what I try to do with social media, although I'm not on there a lot and I don't post a lot, not as active I should be, but when I do, and when you do check out my profile, it's clearly like professional, and not professional meaning like, I mean, business suit every day, just
Right.
that there's a again, it's my marketing and creative mind work, and there's a
Mhm.
look and a
Mhm.
feel. You get a
Mhm.
feel. What
Mhm.
and what I do is I'm a storyteller. This is what I do
Oh, I took a
as a marketing
storytelling
and
class, right?
a creative director. You're a
Mhm.
storyteller. You are
Mhm.
to tell a story, right?
Mhm.
So if I
Mhm.
do it for a firm or a company, I tell a story.
Mhm.
So my mind just works that way, where I'm always telling a story even if I'm not thinking. Like, do you understand what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
even if I'm not
absolutely.
thinking that way, it's
You're
just
always telling a
automatically I
story,
am
right?
telling a story.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so through all my posts, everything that I post, I tell a story. And
Mhm.
that's just what it is. I want when you look back, you look at
Mhm.
my profile, I want you to feel the story. You ever been on a
Mhm.
company's website and you can tell what kind of company they are just from the website, right?
Yeah,
Some of them put a
absolutely.
focus on their people, right? So you'll
Mhm.
see the faces of the
Mhm.
staff and you're
Mhm.
just like, oh, they're like a family. You get the
Mhm.
feel from that
Good.
website. And some
Mhm.
websites, you can just tell that they're all about their money because they just, you know, put the work up and you're like, oh, okay, well, they're just about their projects. And then some
Right.
companies are actually about research and they'll do a lot of posts and, you know, you can get a lot of information. So there's
Mhm.
always a feel. So
Right.
it's basically that's what I do.
Feeling free.
My social media is like me being a storyteller.
Telling the story with the pictures. That
Yes,
is right.
with
And that's
pictures.
how I see it too, that it is a story with the pictures. Um, one of one of the other things that I talk about is the spiritual toolkit. What practices do you have? And I know one of them you were talking about of not killing the employee, but what are a couple of spiritual practices that support you?
Through my day.
Oh, what? Yeah, through your day,
I
whenever
mean, I'm
you're
just
feeling
more,
like if you're
I
feeling
guess.
stressed out, what do you do? How do
So,
you
okay, so
calm
I
yourself?
mean, I know the earlier, because so although I have a lot of friends and I seem very outgoing and
Hmm.
everything, I'm not. So I'm more of a,
You
yeah,
like, what
no.
what are you
Um,
then? It just look. So your brand, you look like you're outgoing. You're out
to
there.
a
You
lot of people, and you know what it is, but it's what I do for a living, so it just comes
look.
naturally, right? The
Mm-hmm.
problem is, however, for me, de-stressing equals shutting down. I shut down. I need
Okay.
to shut down,
Okay.
which
Mm-hmm.
means my phone is shut down. I block
Mm-hmm.
that's how I de-stress. I shut down. Well, this is right after I shop for something. So right after I shop for something, because you know that's important. Um,
Right. Right.
right after it says your order is confirmed, and then I
Mm-hmm.
shut down. I won't lie to you. I'm I shut down. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want anyone talking to me. I come home and my kids are pretty, like I said, they're trained. They know if I'm having a hard day, I'll just say, I had a long day, and they're like, oh, okay, and they'll give me a hug and they'll just leave me alone. I shut down. And let me tell you something, and I know if you look at my social media, you can be like, oh, she's so outgoing, she's always somewhere. No, I cancel a lot.
Right,
I'm the
because you have a lot
queen
of
of,
invites, right?
when I
Right.
say I'm a queen of cancellation, and it annoys my friends to no end.
Really?
But I'm one of those people where I feel like my mental health um relies heavily on my happiness, right?
Mm,
So if, for example, the kind of day I had today, if I had a dinner that I had reserved with my friend, or if we were doing anything, I would have canceled.
mm,
I and it's probably, I need to probably, maybe I should find a different way to deal with it, but it works for me. I need to cancel. I take a shower, I come in my room, and I'm literally, let me say something. I don't need any lights. The lights have to be dim.
mm,
I don't need
mm,
TV.
mm-hmm.
But
So
I
that's
just,
how your
that, yeah,
way of
I
shut,
shut down
shut down.
completely.
It's
Yeah.
like go within yourself, and that's
Yeah,
really
and
good.
I go through periods where I shut down for, and I don't know if this is normal or not, but it could be weeks and months on end, and no one will hear. No one will hear from me. But I emerge
You come
like
back.
nothing ever
But you
happened.
know what? You have a community that they know, and they know who you are, and they accept that's who you are. Because
Well,
I
they
have
have to.
friends that that I talk to all the time, and then I have friends that I don't have to talk to all the time, and we are still as connected. When we connect, we
When you find
connect.
right,
Yes,
so
and so
my
it's not.
they
It's
understand that.
yeah.
I'm not. I won't lie to you. I've been the same way.
Right.
It's not old age. I've been the same way my entire life. I've gone through months on end where my friends would text me like, "Hey, girl, you okay?" I'm like, "Yep,
Good. I'm good. Yeah.
I'm good." But I just a lot of people interaction. I don't know. It just does. I feel like I need to regroup.
Mhm.
Like it's a lot for me.
Mm. You have a lot going on, thinking
I
about
do.
all the work that you're doing. And then
No, I
you
do,
have
and this
a
is why
family, right?
yeah.
And so, I remember when you work full time, and I worked in a bank, so I was on call all the time, right? When you work full time on call all the time,
I was
it
just
is
about to
a
say
lot.
Saturdays and Sundays, like my friends sometimes are hanging out on Saturdays and
Mm,
Sundays, and guess what I'm doing on a Saturday or Sunday?
yeah.
Or even if I had I put my reservation in for something with my friends, but if I have to work, then
Mhm.
it's you're always on call. Like right now, the president of my company can call. So
Mm.
sometimes I actually envy like a receptionist. Yeah, no, I say that
Yeah.
all the time. I say that even at work because it's
No responsibility. Just do what you
you
do
just answer
and
the
you go home.
phone, and then your time comes. It's a straight 9 to 5. I envy people who's straight at 5 o'clock. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
out. I gotta go. You
Well,
know
I think also you make the big bucks. I always say this.
what?
If you're
No.
getting paid the big bucks, you work for that money. So there's the trade off. You want the big bucks, but it comes with a lot of work, right? A
Yeah,
lot
it does.
to get the
So the
bucks.
goal is to work smarter, not harder. And I feel like I've
Right.
been working harder than
Right.
smarter,
You'll
which is
slow
why,
that down. Yeah, it'll happen. You have to give yourself because
well,
this
I'm
is
gonna be
just the
focusing
beginning.
on my
Yeah.
own
Hmm.
business. And one thing, and I'll leave you with this one thing for people who have their own thing going on and working another job. The
Hmm.
reason why a lot of their own companies don't exceed or jump off or grow exponentially is because we make our 9 to 5 the priority, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rather, it should be our business,
Yeah, that
right?
is. Yeah,
So
right.
I'll leave you with
Absolutely.
that. What happens is that for a lot of us, this is what happens. We make our 9 to 5 the priority, and we don't put the
Mm-hmm.
time into
Mm-hmm.
making our own thing the
Mm-hmm.
priority.
Clarity, right.
So
Yeah.
we don't invest as much time and resources into our own, which
Mm-hmm.
is why
As
we
you do.
keep on working
the other thing, because if we could take that time and really focus, we wouldn't necessarily need
Think
the other
about it.
thing. But
You
how
wouldn't.
do you
You'd quit your
find
day
that
job.
balance between the two? Wow, yeah, that is, and as many entrepreneurs out there with great ideas, great products that still have to work because
They
they
don't take the
just
time. But also too, going back to what I do, a lot of
Mhm.
these entrepreneurs, the problem is they start a business and they don't invest in marketing and someone like
Oh,
me.
absolutely. I was on a
So if
seminar
you're start,
recently
you
about
can't be
that.
the jack or the Jane of all trades.
Right,
There's no such
exactly.
thing.
Right,
Okay, you need to
exactly.
learn to delegate. So if you start a business, just know that certain
Yep.
things will have to be delegated. Don't try to do your own website.
Right, exactly. Right,
Don't try to
right,
do your own marketing
right,
plan.
right,
Don't do it.
right.
There are people for that. Delegate so you can
Mhm,
find some free time,
mhm,
right? So you can
mhm.
focus on the things that really matter, which is growing exponentially. And anytime you
Mhm.
need help, there's someone for that. So you have to invest.
Yeah, it's true. And marketing is one of those things people think,
People think they can
oh,
do it. They can do
right.
it
And yeah,
themselves.
they only
Yeah.
want to allocate a small amount of money to it, right?
Let
But,
me tell you, because you know I do this. I have my own firm,
right.
and people always think, and then the money scares them. So
Yeah.
if I send them a proposal, they fear how much they have
Mhm,
to pay. But I tell
right.
them, okay, that 40,000 that you're fearing right now
It's going to
could
make,
be
yeah,
that life
exactly.
changing,
Moment.
right?
Yeah,
But they don't
exactly.
think that way. It's the fear, and I think
Mhm,
that fear is what holds a lot of people down from growing.
mhm. Well, I have really, and thank you, because I know your day was rough and you was like, get in here, I'm commuting. So I really appreciate that you really took the time to come on and
Only for
share with
you.
us. Only for
Only
me.
for you, because I
I
said it. I said
feel
if it
so
wasn't for her,
special.
I'd be canceling.
I feel very, very special, right?
Well, but I love you. I've known you since I was a kid,
And yeah.
and even through college, growing
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
It's a constant, and then being friends with your daughter, so you
Yeah.
always kind of see me around,
Yeah.
and
Exactly. So I
so I
really
I
do
like to
appreciate
I
it.
like to try and be there for the people that I care about, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Even
Oh,
it might not be like as 100, like it might not be my 100%, but I like to
mhm.
at least,
Yeah,
right,
right. So
make an
you know what
effort.
is interesting? I like so one of the things that I always talk about is I'm supporting people in finding joy and living your best life with grace and ease, right? And so one of the things I always talk about as I've been through all you're going through and where you've been,
Okay, yeah.
hard work and all that, and then I realized at this age, I say, slow it down. It doesn't take all that, right? And so my message to younger people like you guys are like, you don't have to be the superwoman. You can't do it all. Try to
Well, thanks for
find
that,
that
because you know
space.
what? Matter of fact, send me that in the message so I can send out a memo to my office, because they think I'm superwoman at this point. Oh yes, they
Exactly.
do. So
Yeah.
I'm going to bottle up that message and
Right.
send it to them.
I need
So,
grace and ease in my life.
yeah, because I
Right.
will tell
Right.
them. Well, my second mom, my bonus mom said, okay, that's what I need to send them, because they need to hear that.
Pleased to hear it. No. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And definitely we'll be in touch. And you get some rest. Have a great evening and go back out there tomorrow, right? All right. I love you and I'll see you soon.
Love you too. All
Okay.
right.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Thank you for joining me tonight on Conversations with Reverend G. I'm here every Monday night on WEMS Radio from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. You can find us on Facebook and on the WEMS app and on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed the show. I look forward to seeing you next week. One thing that stuck out for me is when she talked about fear. And we fear so many things, right? And it comes up so much in everything that we try to do, in moves we try to make, and things that we try to do. There's this fear. So one of the things that I always like to look at is like just look at that, be with that fear, and then step past it. What tools can you use to support me? We always talk about fear, worry, and doubt. How do you remove those and then move past to get the goals that you want? And you know, my thing is always about the thoughts that you keep are a reflection of your life. So if we can keep positive thoughts about our intentions, then we can have our intentions manifest. So I'm Reverend G, and you can find me every day on Instagram as Reverend Grenetta and on Facebook as Reverend Grenetta Mason. And I'll see you next week right here on WEMS Radio Live. Have a great week.